It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, the third round for 2020 from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Road Atlanta. Hello everyone and welcome to Braselton, Georgia. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, who's won 2 national titles at this level. We're preparing for Supersport, Jason, and so far this season it's been a very interesting Supersport Championship.
It has been. The 636 Kawasaki of Richie Escalante has gone and won 4 races in a row, Greg, and I don't think that was something that we probably expected at the beginning of the year. But Sean Dillon Kelly with an M4 X-Star Suzuki, we saw him get off to a bit of a rough start, but he's still right there in the hunt.
Yeah, but of course the standout has been, just like you said, the Kawasaki ZX6R with Richie Escalante on board, and he has been impressive going 4 for 4 so far this season.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the fact that he put it on pole, then he went back the second time to Road America with a completely different setup, did the same thing. I think he's ventured back to the original setup that he had, and so far here in Atlanta, he's been very fast.
Now, Jason, here's a look at what Richie Escalante has done since 2018. He had 2 podiums in 17, 6 podiums, then all of a sudden on this win streak, that's what you want to see out of a young rider.
Well, not just a young rider, but this is what happens when you get a good team with some experienced crew around you. Derek Keys has been with Kawasaki. He took Andrew Lee to 2 Superstock 1000 championships the last 2 years. He's incorporated himself into that program with the Hanos team, and that's why you're seeing the results that you're seeing.
Yeah, and 2 other superstars in our sport are, of course, Sean Dillon Kelly and Brandon Paasch. They're the ones racing Escalante for this championship right now. Both very impressive riders.
Yeah, both of these guys, we thought the Sean Dillon Kelly would come into this season as kind of the odds-on favorite. What Escalante's been able to do to thwart that a little bit has been impressive. But SDK, don't take anything for granted. He's a young rider, but very, very smart. He will win races this year. And then, of course, we're looking at Brandon Paasch on the Celtic R6 as well. A young man that's come over from England as the Moto3 champion from over there. He's jumped on this R6, put it on the podium 3 times so far this season himself. Both these riders are very hungry to get up in front of Richie Escalante.
And Supersport is designed to be the feeder class into our Hanos Superbike class, so what they do here is critical. Young guns trying to make their bones here in MotoAmerica Supersport Racing, including this young man, Nate Minster, who sits 4th in our Supersport Points Championship.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
5+. So Richie Escalante showed up here a month ago on a Kawasaki, the Hanos Kawasaki, and was able to get his first win in MotoAmerica Supersport competition, and then the next day followed it up by doing the double. As he comes up to the top of the hill, the checkered flag flies for Richie Escalante, his 2nd race win of the weekend and 4th in Supersport in a row. Welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Fans here enjoying a beautiful day, August 1st. Our very own Hanalopa had a chance to catch up with last year's BSB Moto3 national champ, Brandon Paasch.
Greg, I'm down here in the paddock at the Celtic HSBK truck. I've got Brandon Paasch with me. Brandon, you have been making steady progress toward maintaining race pace with our leaders. What's going to give you that final push to the front of the pack?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's just me getting comfortable with the bike and with the team and getting more laps, because whenever I'm comfortable and I'm smooth, that's when I'm really fast. So just keep working towards that, and that's our main goal, and then, yeah.
What specifically are you looking to improve upon this weekend, or what are you working on with the bike?
I've been struggling a lot with making the rear tire last through the whole race, because in the first few races I've been there at the beginning of the race, and then I lose touch at the end, just struggling with rear grip. So coming off the corner is a big thing for me, standing the bike up, and yeah, that's the main thing. I've been working on it a lot recently. So.
Well, thank you, Brandon, and best of luck out there.
Thank you.
Another rider on the rise is the number 99 of Nate Minster, currently 4th in the standings with 47 points. If he continues to get consistent results that we've seen so far from him this season, it's a definite possibility we'll see him in the championship battle as well.
Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, 2.5 miles and a bunch of turns back in 1970, a natural road course, and one that is very challenging for the entire Supersport field. Jason Pridmore, I'm going to tell you something, man. It is time to get this Supersport race going. Richie Escalante on pole position.
Right next to him, we got SDK, Brandon Paasch. Next to him, that's going to be our front row, Greg. Almeida and Aguilar are going to be on the second row. Let's see who gets the jump down to that important turn 1.
Good
Almeida.
launch, yeah, from the second row. Brandon Paasch looks like he's got off really well for the 21 on the Celtic HSBK Racing Yamaha, so he'll lead it into one.
Now, Greg, the first 15 seconds of this start are so key. Why? Because when you get to the top of this section, it's all very one line. So you got to try to find a spot that you want to be in, not push too hard, because if you make a mistake here, it could cost you the rest of the race. Good to see all the field get through that little S section at the top of the hill in turn 2. Sean Dillon Kelly makes a big move down through the S's.
And Richie Escalante, our championship points leader, hasn't lost a race yet, in third on the 54, that Honos Kawasaki. So Brandon Paasch pulling out of the draft. Is he going to do something? No. Into turn 6 they go. It's M4 X-Star Suzuki, Sean Dillon Kelly, who continues to lead the way.
And look at Kevin Almeida pushing Richie Escalante there in 4th, and Aguilar is going to be just behind. Jason has shown some good pace. It looks like he may have got bucked up out of the seat. Not sure if that was him or not, but Jason Aguilar there. Nope, he's still there in 5th place, Greg. And then it looks like Max Engels with a great start for him coming from 9th. He's going to be putting himself right there in 6th place, snipping these front 5 guys.
Hard on the brakes downhill into turn 10A, 10B. Escalante holds on to 3rd spot. Looked like he was going to make a move.
Benjamin Smith slides up underneath Lucas Silva. Getting down there into turn 10, we're going to have a big lead group, Greg, as they come across the line. This is as close as we've seen our 600 competitors together after a first lap all season. But it is Sean Dillon Kelly, Brandon Paasch, and Escalante, the 3 that we've watched be on the podium all year, leading this race.
The low point of the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta roller coaster, turn number 1. And they're going to start heading back up this hill to the very tricky turn 2, 3 area.
Aguilar has jumped himself into 4th there with Almeida. It's going to be important that those 2 guys don't mess around too much with each other so that these gaps don't start to create. You can see there's a little gap, and Aguilar had some pace at our second race at Road America, but he had lost touch a little bit early, and now he's trying to get himself back in there with these 3 guys. And if these 3 guys start drafting and redrafting, it will help Jason a lot.
They fan out 3 wide into turn 6. Very tricky corner. You got to get down to that apex. There's a tremendous amount of camber there that allows riders to rip through this section. Hard on the brakes, and through turn 7, that long drag race down the back straightaway, looking to see what the Yamaha of Paasch has against the Suzuki.
That is like Nolan Lampkin. That's going to be coming, I bet, Greg, I think it's Nolan, and it's going to be coming up out of turn 5.
That's what the shot looks like.
And that's a bit of a guess. But it looks like we got a red flag.
Red flag.
Yep, you can see these guys, red flag. Now turn 5 is going to be coming up over the top of a crest. And, you know, especially when you have new tires, you get this confidence of, I got to get on the gas. You might be behind somebody. You don't want to lose that draft. And if the bike gets just a little bit sideways going up over the top of that, as we saw with Michael Gilbert a few years ago, it can high side you up over the top. Let's hope that Nolan's okay.
Take a look at what caused this red flag. Yep, out of turn 5.
It's going to be out of turn 5, and you can see, Greg, that it's not going to be an easy crash out of there ever. And all these bikes are just going ripping by right now. They barely even get a chance to get a yellow flag out when something like that happens. So our riders are going to come back into the pits here after a lap.
Big heads-up move by all the riders to stay out of the way. All right, we're going to step away. When we come back, we're going to get this red flag sorted out.
Supersport race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back in Brazelton, Georgia. Red flag has been taken care of. We are on our warm-up lap, Jason Pridmore, for Supersport to get race action back underway. As you can see, the hillsides here in Northeast Georgia are filled with fans during this very pressing time. Here's a look at our Cardo starting grid. Richie Escalante on pole at a 128.4. SDK and Brandon Paasch on that front row.
Yep, then we have Kevin Almeida, Jason Aguilar, and Benjamin Smith. So Benjamin must have got a bad start, because I saw him knifing through some people on that first start. Then we're going to have Nolan Lampkin, who's probably going to be a scratch here, unfortunately. He's the one that went down. Lucas Silva. Max Engels, who was doing a great job there, probably 6th place. Xavier Zayat, Nate Minster, and Alejandro Thermiotis in row 4. And then back to row 5, we've got Jared Nassani, Edgar Zaragoza, Chuck Ivey, and Austin Miller are going to round out this field. And, you know, as a rider, when you have a red flag like that, you've kind of had this big build-up in anticipation for a start. And then if you have a red flag after 1 or 2 laps, I don't know what it is, but you just come back to the line so much more, like, ready to go for the second start. So a lot of these guys have had a little bit of a test run, and you kind of almost feel like when you come back to the grid, you've had that 1 or 2 kind of laps to get whatever nervousness you might have out of your system. So we'll see if Brandon can get the same start that he got before.
Dunlop, the tire of choice here in MotoAmerica, and they set the rules whether they're allowed to change the tires, and these are the same tires that these riders started in the original race. Here we go, Jason. Upper left-hand part of your screen, the red light's gonna go on. When it goes off, it's time to go racing. In the heat of Georgia, clutches are out. Brandon Paasch from the left part of your screen getting a good launch yet again. So the 21 heading off into turn number 1. He's going to be thinking about, oh, look at Sean Dillon Kelly goes around the outside.
And Escalante. You can see Sean was trying to move over a little bit on Brandon as they went down to turn 1 just to try to get that track position, and he was able to do that. So here's our first little lap up through the S's here. Kevin Almeida with a great start. He's up to 3rd on the Altus Suzuki GSX-R 600, just ahead of Escalante. So this is a great thing. Last time we saw Kevin, we saw him the last turn at Road America picking himself up, and just watching him this weekend, he just looks better on the bike this weekend. I've watched him a lot this morning in warm-up, and you know, I believe he can go with these guys and get in that lead draft. Escalante is trying to work him right now as they go into 6, and he's going to slide up underneath him.
Into turn 7 they go, and so Richie Escalante, Honus Kawasaki, up in a 3rd spot, Hannah.
Yeah, you guys just mentioned Kevin Almeida. When I talked to him, he said he was feeling physically good. He has a huge smile on his face. They changed gearing for qualifying too, and he felt so much better. He loves this track. So he said his goal is really just to stay calm and try and maximize some of those points that he missed out on at the last round.
3 wide into 10A. Brandon Paasch now takes over the lead. Can he get that bike stopped? He does. And the switchback up the hill under the bridge and heading to turn number 12. New leader.
That's going to make Brandon feel pretty good that early in the race. You see Escalante looks like he wants to get through to the front ASAP. But for Brandon Paasch to be able to draft that GSX-R 600 down that back straight, that's going to give him some confidence. He'll put that in his memory for later on in the race.
Brandon Paasch, yeah, looks like he's going to fall victim to Sean Dillon Kelly, who gets down to the apex better than Paasch did. So lead change again, and oh, you don't go 3 wide up in that section. That's awfully tight.
Yep, Escalante does not like to follow. He likes to get to the front. He likes to try to run the pace, and he'll do everything he can to get there. Even if there are times when you think if he just chilled a little bit, he'd get there eventually. He just likes to get there. How about Lucas Silva right there in 5th, catching up to these lead group guys. Really good run from Lucas. This is kind of what I've expected out of him this year after having a pretty solid last year. Escalante looking around the outside of STK as they go into turn 6. Now Brandon Paasch should be able to get a double draft, and Almeida a triple draft down the straight.
All tight up front. 1, 2, 3, 4. M4 X-Star Suzuki's SDK 40 leads the way. Here comes the Honus Kawasaki of Richie Escalante, your points leader. He's gone 4 for 4 this season, and he wants to win his 5th. He takes the lead. Brandon Paasch, who looked like he was in a great position to get a double draft, but didn't get a great drive out of 7. So Escalante, SDK, Paasch, and Kevin Almeida, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's an important part of the race right now because Escalante is going to want to try to gap these guys and pull some distance. This morning, Greg, he was awful fast in the 2nd qualifying session that these guys ran this morning. And it's going to be difficult because these guys ended up this morning, Greg, I believe, getting down into the 28.4. And, you know, next on the list was 28.8, but Escalante showed some pace being able to do 28s rather consistently. So you can see he's already starting to create that little bit of a gap right now between him and Sean Dillon Kelly in 2nd.
Well, the plan to rough up Richie Escalante hasn't really paid off for the rest of the riders. Somebody's got to come up with a solution, or Richie Escalante is going to eke his way to another win. Out of the S's into turn number 5. SDK trying everything he can on that M4 X-Star Suzuki to keep that Kawasaki in sight. But Escalante has been on another level so far in 2020.
Yeah, he's just, you know, when you, as a young rider, get the confidence in your crew, I mean, that's such a big thing. And until you've really had that and you haven't experienced it, you don't know until you get there. And he's got so much trust in the guys that he has working around him right now, and it just builds your confidence up so much that you just feel like you should be able to run away with all the races. I mean, it's a great feeling when you come into the racetrack feeling like you're the guy to beat, and Richie definitely has that going for him.
You saw 96 Jason Aguilar in 5th with 23 Lucas Silva and Benjamin Smith on the 88. There's a good look at Benjamin Smith, a rider who's had ups and downs in his career. Jason, bunch of passing going on in Supersport.
When you have no idea how narrow it gets when you go up into that turn 2 section here at Road Atlanta. So it's a very committed pass that Escalante had to make to go around the outside of Brandon up at the top there. And, you know, then you can see he was able to draft Sean Dillon Kelly down the back straightaway, gets a good drive, puts himself on the left-hand side, but just enough to where he could kind of get that track position and then hold SDK off as they got into the braking area down at the bottom of the hill.
Back to live shots, 21 Brandon Paasch. Celtic HSBK Racing out of Brooklyn, New York, a New Jersey native. Talked about it before. This young man is just tremendous talent, Jay.
Yeah, he is. Brandon's a really good rider. He's on a bike an awful lot. Here's Benjamin Smith. He's trying to chase down Lucas Silva just in front of him. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, is it Lucas just in front of him? Yes. And Aguilar now is trying to get off on the back of Almeida, but just in this one lap, you can see it spread out. And that's because the guy leading has spread these guys out a little bit more. He comes across the line at a 29-1, but I really like what I see out of both Sean Dillon Kelly and Brandon Paasch right now. They're reacting to the fact that Escalante has pulled them down into those lap times. This morning, Brandon Paasch went 29.5. He's already gone 29.3 in the race. And if these two guys start engaging, it's going to give Brandon another shot to kind of get back up there with them.
Yeah, Jason, when I talked to Brandon earlier, he said his main goal for today's race was really to just try and stay with that front group, to watch those leaders and learn as much as he possibly can about their riding style and what they do on the track so he can better prepare for race 2. So I'd say he's well on his way to accomplishing his goal for today's race.
No question, Hannah. Yeah, and these guys right now, they're all in the low 29s, 29.1 for both first and second place riders, 29.3 again for Brandon. So that's going to do a lot for his confidence. And to be fair, his bike looks as good as I've seen it look from even in the first 2 rounds. So his bike isn't looking too bad. These two guys are going to continue to push the pace. I wouldn't be surprised to see some mid 28s possibly this next lap through, and that's where you're going to start to see that gap between second and third maybe just open up a little bit as it starts to do that now as they roll out of turn 5.
91 degrees outside, track temperature high, and that's going to make these Dunlops nice and slippery in the late stages of this race. You can see that there's been a break. Jason Aguilar, and back falling victim to Benjamin Smith is Kevin Almeida, also there with Lucas Silva. So Almeida had a good start, is now starting to drop back. Yeah, and that's you know, I mean, really, Kevin was right up there with him. So it might be a thing where he has the feel that he needs to have underneath him when he's on brand new tires. And now he's in the draft of Benjamin Smith. Benjamin's going to be able to, you know, he went right by him, Greg. That Altus bike is fast. So let's see if Benjamin cuts it back up underneath him as they come under the brakes into turn 10. It looks like he's going to have a go. The Altus bike, of course, Jason, technical partner with Team Hammer. That is M4X Star Suzuki. So the same equipment that Sean Dillon Kelly is on is what Kevin Almeida has underneath him as well. So we know that Team Hammer, that team is able to make a very fast motorcycle. So when we're looking at that lead battle, here you go. There's Aguilar, and he has made that break. He's in 4th place. And then I think this will be a battle that'll go down to the end too. Almeida, Benjamin Smith, good to see him having a good run. And then Silva. Here you go, back to the leaders. These guys, again, 29.1s for the pair of them, 29.2 for Brandon Paasch that time around. So it looks like Brandon just loses a little bit of time down through those S's, and then he does a really good job in the last split of catching back up just a little bit in the last couple splits here. So, you know, Jay, you look at this Supersport field, especially 2 of the 3 riders up front, Richie Escalante and Brandon Paasch. Tall guys, yes. You know, 6 feet. Brandon Paasch, 6'2". Yep. And you know, I was talking to Brandon Paasch about the advantages and disadvantages of being a taller rider. Paasch, of course, as skinny as you like, but still coming in, you know, in the 160-pound range plus. Yeah. Down into turn number 10, Sean Dillon Kelly, who's really making this a clinic of how you race a motorcycle right now, continuing to put the pressure on Kawasaki's Richie Escalante, the 54 down. Just look at the difference in stability on downhill braking from the Kawasaki versus the Suzuki. Everything SDK does is just very, very smooth, and he's done a really nice job of getting himself back into the position that he's in, and it looks like he was able to kind of draft with Escalante down the back straightaway. So, you know,
I think Sean's going to do what he can to kind of stick where he's at the best he can, try to plan something for later in the race if he can do that. The thing about Escalante, both these guys, all three of these guys, their fitness levels are through the roof. So as far as getting tired, they're going to get tired, but not tired enough to not keep pushing.
Yeah, I'm talking to the crew that works on the M4 X-Star Suzuki of Sean Dillon Kelly. I said, okay, we were here last April. SDK was a rookie. How much different is the evolution of the motorcycle he's riding in terms of what he likes geometry setup, what he likes spring? And what I was told is that he is so smooth that you mentioned it, that the geometry and the spring rates are way different from where they were a year and a couple of months ago for SDK. They've really figured that out. And Jason, if you can get away with a softer spring rate and still maintain the speed, the bike tends to be more compliant over the small bumps. And so it's all about SDK being smooth like you're talking about.
Yeah, and he really is. Like, very rarely do we see him get out of shape. And he's able to, you can see, Greg, he's able to sit there. And if you look at kind of the way SDK's bike looks when he comes up under braking, everything is done very smooth fashion. The bike is always in line. It looks like it's very rarely out of shape. So this is a good sign for SDK at the moment.
Richie Escalante strong into turn number 12. That's always a great place if you're making a dash to that checkered flag. The finish line, Jason, relatively close to the final corner.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a draft thing anywhere down the straightaway here. You're going to have to do something going down into 10 or the last corner. We've seen a lot of action in the years past down into turn 12.
Fastest lap of the race recorded last time by the stripe by Richie Escalante, a 129 flat to a 129.1 from SDK. There's the last 3 laps, bottom of your screen. You can see that evolution. So Sean Dillon Kelly is answering everything Richie Escalante is throwing at him right now.
It's, and 29.0, 29.1. So yeah, these guys are getting close to the 28s now. Now it's just going to be a matter of tires and how well they can keep them underneath them. We're only on lap 8 of 17. SDK's bike still looks like it's on rails. So it'll just be what we're going to have to just kind of watch and see for any signs of something that one of these guys might show, any kind of weakness.
For Honos's Richie Escalante, Jason, I was sitting in the debrief with his crew chief, Derek Keys, after free practice number 1 yesterday. And in that conversation, Richie Escalante said to Derek, how many laps did we do? And Derek said, you've done 22. And he's like, how many laps is the race? He said 18. And Richie just smiled and he said, no problem.
Yep.
But it's now 91 degrees and the temperature is, it's scorching. But physically, I think both these riders train hard enough where it's not going to be a factor at all.
Yeah, no, it's not a training thing for either one of these guys now. Now it's just going to be manage your equipment a little bit, although they're both still going full stop here. I mean, 29.2, 29.1. They've broken Brandon a little bit. Brandon's got 3.2 seconds behind SDK now, so he's kind of doing like mid-30s, as is Aguilar and some of the guys behind him. So Brandon's got a big gap back to 4th, but these two guys have checked out.
Keeping an eye on the front end of that Kawasaki of Richie Escalante. As we know from history, this bike's been homologated in this series for quite a long time. And the Kawasaki known for front end troubles over the years versus the Suzuki. But Escalante and his crew seem to have that thing dialed in really well at the moment. A good drive from Escalante, but he had to use more of the racetrack on that particular turn 7 exit than Sean Dillon Kelly.
Don't you think, Greg, there's going to come a point where SDK, I mean, we've got 4 races under our belt now, 2 rounds at Road America, where, the 54 here, Escalante has won all 4 races. I just feel like this is a really good weekend for Sean Dillon Kelly to kind of put his best foot forward and try to get a win here this weekend, or maybe even a double, and just to kind of set the record straight that he's going to be here all year and not let Escalante have his way all the time. I think it's an important weekend for him and that team.
I agree. 96 is Jason Aguilar. He's in 4th spot. So Aguilar, who races for the Riders Law Aguilar Racing on the Yamaha R6, has got a whole heap of the 16 Kevin Olmedo right behind him on that Altus Motorsports GSX-R 600.
You almost kind of wonder if Kevin had a little issue somewhere that we didn't catch, because he did fall behind all these guys. Look at the drive he's got up the hill. Is he going to try to go? Oh, it looked like he was trying to go up underneath Jason as they went up into the S's, but all of a sudden, Almeida has dropped Silva. Silva's dropped back to 6th back there, and Benjamin Smith. Both of those guys, these 3 guys were tied together, and Almeida has got away from those other 2. and ran down Aguilar.
When I spoke with Aguilar yesterday, Jason, he was telling me that over the last couple of weeks that we've been away from racing, he wasn't able to throw a leg on a motorcycle at all. He's been working so much, and his training regimen was really down. So the first session he went out and he only did a couple of laps just to get his brain back up to speed. And I think in speaking with him, his physical conditioning is something that's playing in the back of his mind. I think if Kevin Almeida knew that, at this point, if I can't get away from Aguilar, I'm probably just going to sit on his tailpipe, wear him out, and make a move with a couple of laps to go.
And Kevin's, you know, I don't know what Kevin's training has been like lately, because he's coming off of a couple of little small injuries, and I don't know how much that impacted his training and such either. So, you know, right now I think for Kevin Almeida, what he wants to do is just bring a result home for his team. We saw him at the very first race of the year, finished on the podium, which I think was probably better or more than what any of him or his team maybe would have thought was possible to start the season. And then we've seen a few mistakes as well. And we know he got, you know, we know he fell coming onto the front straightaway at Road America and looked a little bit dinged up, and was worried about making this event. So, but look at the run he gets up on Aguilar as they go through the middle of turn 1 and up the hill. Really solid up through here.
Into the tight turn 2, 3 area. A much different section than we used to run a number of years ago, but it puts you out in the same spot, heading down towards the famous Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta S's. Into turn 5 we go. A very interesting and fun corner. As we go back up front, here's Richie Escalante and Sean Dillon Kelly. That gap's still about a 1/10 of a second.
But that first split is quicker than we've seen all race out of both of them. So all of a sudden Escalante goes 34.5 in the first sector and drags SDK along with him, so it's good. Sean Dillon Kelly is responding to everything that's happening right now. As you can see them coming down into turn 10, they're on a pretty good, this is probably going to be another low 29, but fastest first sectors this late in the race.
Incredible. We're talking about physical conditioning, the heat, as well as tire wear. And look at Escalante just getting that Kawasaki all out of shape. Let's look at these lap times and see with the wheel in the air, the 54. Hono's Kawasaki comes across the line, 29.1.
Yeah.
So just a 1/10 of a second, little less than that off the fastest lap. And Sean Dillon Kelly matches it with a 29.182.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's got to try to be able to do. And when you see that the guy has started to push that pace, I mean, it's really funny how it works, Greg, because you'll be behind somebody like Escalante now, and all of a sudden he'll clean a sector, and you'll see a little gap start to appear, and you think, oh, I can't let him go. Like, I can't let this guy go. And that's exactly what STK did. It was good to see him grind out that second sector.
Yeah, but let's switch the mental game to the rider in front. So Escalante now is trying to throw down a couple of hard laps, and he's not able to shake Sean Dillon Kelly. Who mentally does that give the advantage to?
Well, again, Escalante, I think, likes to lead. He likes to be at the front. He likes to set the pace. And what you're hoping for when you're the rider in front is that all of a sudden when you come by your board the next lap, you're just begging for a +1 on there.
Yeah.
You know. And some guys will go half-second increments on their boards where it'll say +0.5 or +0.5 rather. And so that gives you a little boost, you know, to get yourself, okay, it's starting to happen. I'm starting to break him a little bit. And right now you can see this gap that we have on our screen right now. This is the biggest gap we've seen. He's gained a 1/10 in the first sector, and he's gained 3/10, Greg, in the second sector. So he's pulled away almost half a second. It's not going to be enough for his crew to put a 1 on the board, or even probably a half a second on the board. But it is started to happen just on this lap 12.
Here we go. It's going to be 5 laps to go, Hannah. And deep in this race, is there any concern about the Dunlop tires holding up in this heat?
Yeah, I just spoke to Tony Romo from Dunlop, and he told me that Sean Dillon Kelly is on that super soft compound front tire, whereas Richie Escalante switched from last round to now the extra soft front compound tire. So it just depends. He's confident that they will both go the full race distance, no problem. So it just dependent upon how the rider rides personally and how they manage the tire personally. But it's all about feel for that individual rider. But no problem at all going the full race distance.
Escalante's front end looking planted as always, Jason.
Yeah, but look at SDK. I'm impressed. He's really rebounded. 29 flat for Escalante that last lap by. Now, you might ask me now, what is the rider up in front's thing? When he sees that he's gone his quickest lap of the race, still has +1, doesn't have a plus on his board, that's when you can start to kind of think to yourself, all right, what do I got to do here? This guy, I'm obviously I can't shake him. Is he planning something for later in the race? Right now, SDK goes his fastest and the race's fastest first split. So he is sticking right in there with him still, and you can tell, Greg, it looks like he's going to have a go.
SDK is going up the inside. He's going to make a move right now. He gets it done. Can he hold it nice and tidy? He stands Escalante up. So now the M4X Star rider is in the lead as they head down the hill. Escalante not going to fight back right now as he sends his Kawasaki sideways. What a move by Sean Dillon Kelly.
And I think that's what he's got to do. I like the move. There's part of me that wishes he could have waited another couple of laps, but maybe he wants to try a shot at leading this race. Now keep in mind, he just ran his fastest first split in the split that they are in now. Maybe he feels that this is a spot that he can get away just a little bit.
Sean Dillon Kelly has really played a smart race. The only question we have right now is it a little bit too early? I was going to make the comment before SDK made that pass, Jason, that he's been the one studying Richie Escalante. He's the one learning a lot about Richie Escalante. Why give him the opportunity, Escalante, to go to class on SDK?
Well, there's the pass that you can see, and I think it was good here. Sean did a really nice job at really slowing his apex speed down in turn B there so that Escalante couldn't cut it back up underneath him. So that's some really great racecraft on SDK's part. You can see in the right side of our screen and now on our full picture, he's opened up that gap. But Escalante isn't the kind of guy that wants to sit behind. He's going to do everything he can to draft back past Sean Dillon Kelly right now. I don't think he's a very patient guy, Greg. So you can see he's up alongside now. Now it's going to be a braking battle down into turn 10.
Here they come side by side, the brake lever on. Sean Dillon Kelly around the outside. Oh, and a big bobble from Escalante. He nearly lost it, gathers it back up, and SDK grabs that lead right back.
So what Escalante is looking at now is up into the last turn, but now that's going to change his strategy of being able to get down into that last corner. The fact that SDK was able to outbrake him down into turn 10 is going to stick in the back of Richie's mind. He's going to have to get by him a lot earlier down that back straightaway so that he can protect the line getting down into the bottom if this race gets down into the last couple of laps.
What race craft by Sean Dillon Kelly. M4X Star Suzuki as Escalante gets closer, right part of your screen. That's the race pace that Sean Dillon Kelly's been able to dig deep. And now it has slowed a little bit, Jason, on that lap. They went from basically doing 29 ones and 29 flats to 29.9.
Yep.
So it's dropped off about 8/10 of a second.
It's going to happen a little bit there. SDK just ran it into turn 5 a little bit fast, a little bit deep, and you can see it altered his line. That's why Escalante is able to get up alongside of him and try to go around the outside. Sean Dillon Kelly doesn't allow that to happen as they roll into 7. Now, and my belief is that Escalante is going to try to get by him a lot earlier down this back straightaway. He's closer, and then he's going to try to protect that line going down into turn 10.
Here comes Richie Escalante, your championship points leader, 25 years old. Goes up the inside around Sean Dillon Kelly. They bend it over to the right in the kink, side by side. Lead goes to Escalante, but inside position to Sean Dillon Kelly.
Yep, he just wasn't able to quite be able to make that pass complete, so he couldn't get over to the left to do any blocking. So SDK did a good job of holding his track position. When they come down here to this last corner, you can see Richie wants to try something there, and he's dress rehearsing it right now. That's going to be a big pass if it happens there on the last lap.
I just keep thinking to myself that, do they have the front end set up where Richie Escalante needs to really snatch that brake lever heading down the hill into turn 12? That's going to be an awfully risky pass for the championship points leader. So Sean Dillon Kelly continuing to hold off the advances of Richie Escalante. What a race we are having in Supersport. Race number 1 from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Last 3 laps, bottom of your screen, you can see the difference in pace once SDK took over.
Look at the pace that Escalante has behind, and he's right up behind. Okay, now SDK did a much better job of getting out of here this lap. You can see that Escalante isn't able to get up alongside of him as early as he did the lap previous. So he's going to roll in through 6 and 7 the way he liked to before. The only reason why Escalante was as close to him on the last lap was because of a small mistake that I saw him 5. Now he's going to be able to get out of here pretty solid. And I think that, you know, SDK has shown how strong he is when they get down into that turn 10 area at the end of the straightaway. Look at SDK move over. He wants this track position on the inside going down the hill because it's going to be the shorter distance, and he also feels like when he gets down here, he can release the lever earlier. Look at this, Greg.
So here they go around the outside. Again goes Sean Dillon Kelly. Can he get it stopped? That was reminiscent of the pass that he initially made to take over the lead.
Yep, now Escalante's up underneath him as they come underneath the bridge, and he gets
what
by
a pass! What a move by Escalante. Can he get it stopped? Oh, they're side by side. Escalante couldn't get to the apex, so SDK takes over. And here it comes, the final lap. Fireworks are brewing in this one. Into turn 1 they go.
Now it's a matter of running a clean lap. All gloves are off. These guys have passed and repassed in places, and SDK is gonna be very wary. He's got to clean this section. If SDK can get down through here really, really well, and he has, Greg. He's done a really nice job up through the S's. You can see there's a tiny little bit of a gap there. Not much, okay, but it's just enough to where he's cleaned it. Escalante's back on the back of him.
Oh, that's so close. And you can see Escalante trying to get over the front end. Oh, and traffic in the way as well. They've seen some blue flags. Hopefully they get out of the way and let this race continue into turn 6. So we got about half of Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta to go.
Oh, there's 2 guys as well, and they're going to get these guys in a horrendous spot unless both guys have recognized that they're coming and get out of the way, Greg, like you say. But this is going to thwart what Escalante wants to do. Look at SDK move over, and these 2 guys in front are still battling and racing, and Escalante is going to go through. Now it's going to get exciting when we get down to turn 10.
Hold your breath. What's going to happen into 10A? Oh, Escalante is very deep lap traffic. Sean Dillon Kelly not able to do anything with him, so they switch back, and now there's one more corner to go. What a drive by Escalante. Sean Dillon Kelly tries to go up the inside on the brakes. Escalante sideways. SDK has the position. Now it's the run to the checkered flag. Has the M4X Star Suzuki done enough? He has. He'll take victory. What a race.
That's what we're hoping to see. That's a huge victory. How about these guys, Almeida and Aguilar, coming up under the bridge in a battle which will be for 4th place. Aguilar closes off the entrance. Almeida's going to try to square him up. Let's see what happens as they come across the line, Greg. Almeida gets a great drive.
Points on the line, and it will be Kevin Almeida for 4th spot. Jason Aguilar in 5th. What a race, Jason. .052, the margin of victory. 29s. They continued on in the 29s. And Sean Dillon Kelly telling the fans, get on your feet. What a victory.
That's exactly what he needed, Greg. I just felt like today was a day that he needed to make a statement. And you do this for your team, you do this for yourself and all that, obviously. But the big thing is, Greg, you've got to go win one of these races. And then all of a sudden, it kind of disrupts the flow of things that have been going on. Escalante has had all of his own way, and you can see these guys come down the back straightaway. There's 2 guys in front of them that are it looks like Austin Miller and Chuck Ivey, I believe.
Yep.
And they're racing, they're doing their thing. And Escalante made that pass early down that back straightaway, like we kind of thought he needed to do to win. And to be fair, Sean wasn't close enough to him going into 10A, but this is a big pass. Anybody that's been to Road Atlanta and come down that hill knows what a big pass it is to go up underneath somebody and then hold them off all the way to this line.
I think the setup that Sean Dillon Kelly had on his M4X Star Suzuki under braking is what made this difference in this race, because you could see that Richie Escalante's Kawasaki was just a little looser and just couldn't get the binders to slow him down the way he wanted to.
His bike looked great.
Yeah.
SDK's bike looked great in the whole race.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta on a heart-pounding super sport race that ended in such an exciting way. And this is the way it's going to go. Sean Dillon Kelly with a .052 margin of victory over Richie Escalante, and Escalante's first defeat of 2020. Brandon Paasch will finish 16.5 seconds behind them in 3rd. Another podium for the New Yorker. And then Kevin Almeida and Jason Aguilar in a great scrap. You can see the margin there between those 2 riders, .023 of a second. Benjamin Smith, great result for the 88, Jason.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see and talk to Benjamin. Let's get down to Hannah in the winner's circle.
For Sean Dillon Kelly and his 3rd career win. Sean, take us through those last couple laps in your battle with Richie Escalante.
Yeah, I'm trying to recover from everything. I think I celebrated more on the victory lap than the whole race. Wow, that was a really good race. Props to Richie. He held a really good pace the whole time. Definitely was a hard one, but man, first win of the season. This feels so good. We really started off a little hard in Road America 1, but we fought through. We're here. I want to thank the whole M4X Star Suzuki team. They've worked their butt off. Jeremy Torr, my crew chief, he's really put in everything to make this happen, and I dedicate this audit to them, to my dad, who's at home watching right now. Really wish you were here, but I know you'll be here in a little bit. I love you all. Michael Torres, thank you for all the work. Just everyone, you know, my family's here, my sister, my girlfriend, my mom, everyone's here, and I just really happy to get this win for everyone, and we're gonna do it again tomorrow.
Sean, what were you able to learn during today's race and your battle with Richie that'll help you better prepare for tomorrow's race?
Little things. They're all secrets anyway, so I won't talk about it. But like I said, just he definitely held a good pace. There's some things that we need to work on, but overall my bike's working really well. So again, thank you to the whole M4XR Suzuki team.
Congratulations to Sean Dylan Kelly, today's race winner.
Well, that'll do some things to the championship standings. You can now see Sean Dylan Kelly 35 adrift of Richie Escalante as that 5-point shift in that one, Jason. Brandon Paasch hanging back there just a couple races behind, so a lot of work to be done for Paasch, Aguilar, and Nate. Minster drops from 4th spot down to 5th.
Yeah, and you look at Lucas Silva, Benjamin Smith, and yeah, it was interesting to see Benjamin kind of fall back. It looked like he had some pace early and was coming to the front. But like you said, Greg, he ends up 7th. So good look at our winner's circle today. Guys getting hydrated. It's, oh man, is it hot down there.
So for Sean Dylan Kelly, his first victory here in 2020, and my goodness, Jason, he made it certainly exciting. So now, you know, if you're this guy right here, Richie Escalante, what are you thinking about improvements for tomorrow?
You know, I think that being able to go back and look at the race tonight with his crew and some of the things that he wants to try to fix, and you know, there's no question that we talked about it during the telecast, the stability between one bike to the other, and you know, how much of that is rider, how much of that is setup. That's what I think some of the questions you got to ask and get answered. So we'll see how that goes for Richie tonight.
Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed the coverage of Supersport Racing. A blink of an eye is what separated Sean Dylan Kelly from Richie Escalante in this one. Good news, we're going to do it again tomorrow on MAV TV and MotoAmerica Live Plus. From Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and for Jason Pridmore and Hanalopa, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you for more hot, steamy Supersport race action tomorrow.